start off, have you watched the interview here in Cebu? Hart's interview here in Cebu. Are you proud of her, of how she tackled all the questions?
Actually, yes. My only problem is people might think that she's the one running because she was answering policies of government, my position and stance, should I be elected. We have these conversations usually every night. In fact, nilabas yata niya sa isang vlog niya na paggabi may oras, over a glass of wine, natututo kami sa isa't isa. Pinag-uusapan niya yung mga bagong chismis sa showbiz, trends in the fashion industry. Ako naman, gobyerno, kasaysayan at anumang tanong na meron siya. Kaugnay sa pagpapatakbo ng gobyerno sa ating bansa. So I guess she picked up some of those from that conversation that we've been having. But yes, definitely, I was very proud of her. She's in Pangasinan right now. Actually, she just left Pangasinan. On her way to Tarlac and Pampanga. And she also had press cons. She was asked, I think, about PPP. And she had a vague knowledge about the specifics of PPP, but was still able to handle herself. So definitely yes. But having said that, may kasunduan kami ni Hart. Alam ko kung sinabi sa inyo. Kailan, bago pa kami kinasal, nagkasundo kami. Kailanman hindi siya papasok sa politika. Hindi siya tatakbo sa anumang pwesto. Ang kabalik nun, kailanman hindi rin ako papasok sa showbiz. Naman siya. Kasi sa trabaho niya, pwede siya makipagyakapan at halikan. Ako hindi. Pag ginawa kayo sa trabaho ko, yari ako. But we prefer na magkaiba ng mundo, pinanggagalingan namin, para natututo kami sa isa't isa. Kesa pareho yung mundo namin. Yung kagalit niya, kagalit ko. Yung kagalit ko, kagalit din niya. Ang hirap naman mabuhay ng gano'n, di ba? Pag masama yung araw niya, masama rin agad yung araw ko. Pag pareho kami ng mundo, mas maganda na magkaiba kami ng mundo. Pag masama araw ko, mali mo maganda araw niya, pwede niya akong pangkit. No, it would be good advice for those who are still single. Perhaps you should choose a partner that does not belong to your world. So yung mga single, hindi naglalayat. Please.
Can you share what are your platforms for?
There would be a lot. I don't even know where to start. But the main reason why I ran, mas gusto ko talaga yung English o Tagalog. Pero kayo, ang mas prefer ninyo? Bigyan kita ng halimbawa ng Tagalog ko. Ang pangunahing rason kung ba't ako tumakbo, dahil kahit anong gawin kong galing, talino, talento. Masin. The main reason why I ran would be this. Whatever it is I do as governor of the province of Sorsogon, given the pandemic, given the problems brought about by the pandemic, I can only reach as far. There is a glass ceiling I cannot go beyond. Given that province of Sorsogon will not go up unless the entire country goes up. That's the main reason why I'm running, to recover from the pandemic. Anumang talino, talento, galing, karanasan, tapang meron ako, yun ang iniaalay ko sa muling pagtakbo. But to mention a few, number one, not necessarily in this order. Number one, to promote the autonomy of local governments, I discovered as governor that there are a lot of limitations on local autonomy. I am of the firm belief that governors and mayors believe and know what needs to be done in their respective areas compared to any national official that doesn't even visit our province. Number two, for example, do you know that the provincial ordinance providing for the budget of the provinces of Cebu needs to be approved by the regional office of the DBM? How is that? Why is that? It's our era. It's our locally generated revenue sources. So why does it need to be approved by DBM? Do they think even for a minute that they know better than we do? I don't think that should be the case. That's not found in any laws. It was merely via memoranda issued and circulars issued by the COA, DBM, and DILG. That should be changed and that should be corrected. Local government units know far better what needs to be done. Even this IADF, any lockdowns, any restrictions must be decided upon by the local government as well, not by the national government. Take for example Sorsogon. We've had 0 cases for the past 3 weeks and still we are at level 2. I do not understand why, where, and when that can happen. If only they knew the situation we have in Sorsogon. Number 2 would be, aside from local autonomy, number 2 would be to focus on MSMEs. That is the key towards recovering, towards economic recovery. Why? 90% of our economy is comprised of MSMEs, as Hart told you. Again, we've been having these conversations over and over. Focusing third in agriculture. But to add to what Hart said probably when she met with you, I also want to pursue a law that will repeal the Oil Deregulation Act. It has clearly not lived to its promises. Why? Saan kayo nakakita ng batas na yung mayamang may-ari ng gasolinahan pwede magtaas ng presyo kahit kailan? Pero yung pobreng super, driver ng jeep at tricycle, kailangan magpaalam sa LTFRB at sa local government bago sila makapagtaas ng pamasahe. There is a basic principle in law that says, those who have less in life should have more in law. Clearly, this law is the opposite. The richer people in society have more rights under this law than the poorer members of society. Enough reason to repeal that law. Number two would be to pass a legislated minimum wage increase. Clearly again, the regional wage boards have not done their jobs. Any increase they have given for the past 10 years, all favor business, never the employee. Ano ba naman yung isa o dalawa sa increase na pasahan nila? Yung sa manggagawa naman. Yung 8, sige, pabor na sa negosyante. It means life and death on the part of the worker. It just means simply less profits for the businessman. It won't make him poor, won't make him hungry. He will still have enough money for his family. But it's a different story for workers. It means life and death for the workers' families unless we give them what is needed. I want to ask the regional wage boards, if you have a friend that's a member of the regional wage board, kindly convey a question. Saan ba sila nag-grocery? Saan ba sila namamalengke para sabihin nila na sapat na yung ganong kaliit na sweldo kada araw para mabuhay ang isang pamilya? Baka naman may sikreto sila, ituro na nila sa atin para hindi na rin ako magreklamo laban sa kanila. Next would be the passage of an Odette rehabilitation bill. Odette devastated or affected the lives of 3.1 million Filipinos. Compare that to Yolanda. Yolanda affected the lives of 3.2 million Filipinos, 100,000 difference. And yet government passed a Yolanda rehabilitation bill worth 20 billion. With Odette, I don't see anything. In fact, if you ask any local government unit about the provinces I've visited, you hear complaints that the national government did not give enough help, and clearly, LGU funds are not enough to rehabilitate Odette-stricken areas. I seek to pass another 20 billion Odette rehabilitation fund in order to help LGUs affected by that calamity. Although there were less people affected by Odette compared to Yolanda, it affected more municipalities, more regions, and more provinces compared to Yolanda. That would be to name a few, unless we spend the entire afternoon talking about what needs to be done in our country. Thank you, Sophie.
Sir Chiz, if you're talking about local autonomy, are you in favor of federalism?
No. I would rather pass a law or a constitutional amendment providing for a framework whereby an area can be given similar rights to a federal state if they are qualified, but not to implement it in the entire country. Why? Our closest experiment to federalism are in two areas provided for in the Constitution, the two autonomous regions, Cordillera Autonomous Region or CAR, and the Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, now called BARM. CAR has never been implemented since 1986 for the past 35 years. It has lost in 3 plebiscites. So up to now, it has not been implemented. BARM, which used to be ARM, is yet to be perfected by Congress. If we haven't implemented it in one region, and is still in the process of perfecting it in one region, why will we do it in the entire country? Can't we perfect it first in these 2 regions before doing it in the entire country? Second, we need money for programs and projects that will uplift the lives of the poor. You want us to spend more money for an additional layer of government? So panibagong opisina, panibagong sekretary, panibagong mga senador, panibagong mga congressman sa kada rehiyon? Don't we have enough officials already in government? So I'd rather spend the money for additional programs, activities, and projects that will help the poor, instead of hiring more people to work for government or to work in government. One more example. If NCR or Calabar Zone or Region 7 is declared as a federal state, that means all of the money generated in these areas will go to them and cannot be shared to any other part of the country. Saan ngayon kukuha ng pondo ang national government pangtulong sa mga probinsyang mahirap? Nobody proposing federalism has ever answered that basic and simple question. Take for example BARM. The total revenue of BARM, the entire region, because it is the poorest region in the country, is only about 4 billion a year. The total subsidy being given to BARM by the national government is about 140 million. Now you tell me, are they really independent? Are they really free? If they're dependent on funding to the tune of 95% from the national government. Again, it raises a basic question as to how it will be run and how they will run it. And how truly they will decide on their own destiny if the money that they're using to spend for that destiny is coming from and being given by the national government and not self-generated. Konti na lang mag-nosebleed na ako sa English, pero sige, kaya ko.
Sir,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. Kamakailan lang sinabi ni, binanggit
Awan na
ni
gusto naman
BBM na kung mahalal man siyang panguto, gagawin daw niyang 20 to 30 pesos yung bigas. For us na mga pangkaraniwang Pilipino, posible ba, pwede niyo bang i-explain kung posible ba yan? Why is it or why is it not?
Sa ngayon, hindi posible yan dahil tinanggal ng taon ng budget ang pondo ng NFA. Kung ibabalik ang pondo ng NFA, posible at kaya gawin yun. You have to go back in time. Why was NFA invented? Government considers NFA as a GOCC, Government-Owned and Controlled Corporation. Now, once you use the word corporation, you look at the balance sheet. Kumikita ba o lugi? So sa sobrang lugi ng NFA sa nagdaang mga dekada, nagpasya ang gobyerno na limitahan na ang pondo para dito para mabayaran yung utang. Kasi nga, korporasyon ang tingin. But they have to bear in mind, historically, NFA was not considered a government-owned and controlled corporation. NFA was a government agency designed to lose money. Why is it designed to lose money? The basic mandate of the NFA, when it was created sometime in 1979, was basically to buy palay at a high price so that the farmers will earn and continue to plant and sell rice at a lower cost to consumers. Hindi siya korporasyon, hindi siya negosyo. That agency was indeed designed to lose money. So if you ask me, can it be done now? No. But can it be done under a new administration? Yes, if the administration will provide NFA enough funding to precisely do that function all over again. Right now, the ability of NFA to buy palay is only at 5% of total production at 19 pesos per kilo. Ang gagawin lang ng mga trader at miller, iintayin maubos yung pondo ng NFA, babaratin na yung magsasaka at bibili ng 14 at 12 pesos. Lugi pa yung magsasaka. Hindi madiktahan ng gobyerno yung presyo sa mas mataas dahil alam ng trader at miller, konti lang kayang bilhin ito. Sa atin din tatakbo yan. That's why NFA has not been as effective insofar as controlling the price is concerned. But if you will fund NFA to precisely do the mandate it was originally designed to perform, then it can be done.
Thank you, sir.
Governor Chiz, speaking of Sorsogon, most of us never been there. So if
You're
we're gonna go
invited,
there,
please
if we're gonna go there, what's
Ang nandun, alam mo?
anong nandun? No.
Media, traditional media, at bloggers ng Laguna ang nandun ngayon. Sorsogon is comprised of 14 towns and 1 city. We only have 1 city in the province. It is coastal. 14 out of 15 towns and city is coastal, meaning they all have beaches. Only 1 town is landlocked, the town of Irosin. But it was blessed by God with having hot springs. So maganda yung balanse ng lalawigan namin tourism-wise. That's where Bulusan Lake is found. It is one of the largest lakes in the country, and we recently just renovated it too. Whale sharks are found in only 2 places in the country. One where you feed them, the other one where they naturally follow their habitat, which is migratory. So they're only in Sorsogon from November until May. Previous to the discovery of whale sharks in Donsol, it was only found in 1 place in the world, regularly found, in Ningaloo in Australia. But you have to travel about an hour by plane from Sydney, and then still travel by boat by another hour. In Donsol, for example, very much like here, it's right there, a few meters from the highway. So that's where the whale sharks are found too. We have our own cuisine, which I hope you would try and learn as well. Kaya lang ang Bicolano, alam niyo naman ang pagkain namin ay maanghang. Kaya daw mainit lahat ng mga Bicolano dahil maanghang ang kinakain. Dapat tinanong nyo kay Hakyan. I just recently renovated our provincial capital complex because the buildings were constructed in 1916. So they are 125 years old this year. And hopefully you can see how we renovated it, restored it rather, not renovated it. And hopefully you get to experience a different place. Maganda ang Cebu, maganda ang Kapitolyo ng Cebu. Mas matanda lang ng konti ang Kapitolyo ng Sorsogon. It was constructed in 1916. Yours was constructed in if I'm not mistaken, if I read the inscription in your Capitol building in 1937. Kasi nakalimutan ko na yung Roman numeral ko eh. Ako MCM XXX. Yung nakita ko kanina eh. I just saw it earlier. So please, you're welcome, whether I'm governor or not, whether I win or lose in this election, please, you're welcome to always visit Sorsogon. We have what we call a people's mansion, which can accommodate about 25 people. It's owned with provincial government. I didn't call it the governor's mansion dahil baka maging issue. It's a facility designed to entertain any guest that may want to visit Sorsogon as the host, as guests of the provincial government. So please feel free, whoever wants to go, let us host you when you get there.
Let's go now. Let's go now.
Okay for ticket now.
But, ano pala yung what's the fastest way to Sorsogon pala?
There is a boat from Cebu to Masbate,
Masbate.
fast craft, di ba? And then another one, Masbate to either Pilar or Masbate to Tabaco, if you want to travel by sea. By air, Manila, then Manila Daraga, Albay, and then a 35-minute drive, you're in Sorsogon City.
Sa pagtaas ng presyo ng gasolina, may mga panawagan na ang mga transport operator, pati mga tricycle driver, na itaas ang pasahe at may panawagan na rin ang pagdagdag sweldo. Ano po ang masasabi nyo nito?
I'm in favor, babura mo sa legislated minimum wage hike, sabi ko kanina. Pero pag hindi na pamasahe, kung hindi bibigay ng gobyerno, yung ayuda na pinangako nila sa transport sector dahil election ban daw, walang choice kundi taasan ng pamasahe. Kawawa naman yung mga driver. Kanina nila papasa yung mataas na presyo ng produktong petrolyo. I was born in 1969. Mahirap kalimutan yung birthday ko. 10-10 na 69 pa. Tumatawa ba kayo sa 10-10 o... Anyway, 10-10 na 69 pa. Kaya... Ito na sa buong buhay ko mula nung pinanganak ako. Pinakamataas na presyo ng gasolina at diesel. Sa totoo lang. Siguro kayo din. Kawawa naman yung mga driver natin kung natin sila mapahintulutan na magtaas ng pamasahe. At tulad ng sabi ko kanina, mas kawawa sila. Yung mayamang may-ari ng gasolinahan pwede magtaas ng presyo kahit kailan, pero yung pobreng driver ng jeep at tricycle at pampublikong sakyan, kailangan nilang hintayin payagan muna sila ng LGFRP at ng local government bago magtaas ng singil. That is clearly unfair. That is clearly anti-poor.
So how do you if you want to repeal the oil deregulation law, babalik tayo sa dating sistema na?
I want to look into and study number one, to give the government the power to put a cap on the price of oil. How? By re-establishing the OPSF or Oil Price Stabilization Fund. Ano yun? Yung Oil Price Stabilization Fund, it's a fund na binibigay mong subsidiya yung kumpanya ng langis para lang huwag magtaas ng presyo. Kasi pag nagtaas ng presyo ng langis, domino effect yan, pamasahe, sweldo, bilihin. Diba? Pangalawa, kapangyarihan sa gobyernong ibaba yung buwis pag tumataas yung presyo, especially the percentage tax. I'll give you an example. If, for example, VAT is at 10%, it's only an example para madali mag-compute, mahina ako sa math. Kung ang presyo ng langis 30 pesos kada litro, ang buwis ay 10%, edi ang kita ng gobyerno 3 pesos per liter, naging 70. So instead of 3 pesos per liter, government all of a sudden is earning 7 pesos per liter. They have a windfall of 4 pesos per liter. In real terms, alam niyo kung magkano yun? For the past month and a half, that is equivalent to roughly 78 billion pesos additional revenue. And yet, ang bibigay sa transport sector natin, 5 billion. Ang bibigay na ayudang 200 pesos per month is only totaling 33 billion. May sukli pa sila. Diba? So, dapat may kapangyarihan silang ibaba yung buwis para hindi kasama yung gobyerno sa pagtaas ng presyo. Pangatlo, dapat bigyan natin ng kapangyarihan ng gobyerno magtatag ng tinatawag nating Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Ano ito? Petroleum Reserve, ibig sabihin imbakan stockpiling ng langis. Huwag tayong bibili ngayon. Bumili tayo pag mababa ang presyo. Itago natin para may malalabas tayo na binili sa murang presyo. Una muna sa transport sector, kung marami tayong natago, edi sa publiko, to the public in general. Most countries in Europe and America have this. I'm not inventing this. Mangopya na lang tayo, di ba, ng best practices kaysa mag-invento pa tayo? Ang Amerika, 2 weeks ago, started releasing from their strategic petroleum reserve 1 million barrels of oil a day to help keep the prices stable and low. Ang utos ni President Biden, continue releasing at 1 million barrels per day until September of 2022. It roughly gives you an idea kung gaano tatagal itong mataas na presyo ng produktong petrolyo. At the very least, until September. Di ba? Sa atin, hindi mo lang sinasabi kung gaano katagal ba to, hanggang kailan ba to. Ang ginagawa na lang ng gobyerno dahil wala silang kapangyarihan maglagay ng cap at babaan yung buwis para silang radio announcer. Bukas, magtataas ng 7 piso. Sa susunod na linggo, bababa ng 2 piso. Government is powerless right now under our laws. So I seek to amend and change that as well.